back to service the Vaillant Ecotec, which we upgraded to weather compensation for the sake of the underfloor some few years back. It was fitted with a wave-in manifold, and we had some problems with the manifold, with the components, and they were quite expensive for the parts. And the floor was going hot and cold versus a concrete tiled floor requiring very low temperatures. So outside temperatures today, I don't know, probably about 4 degrees centigrade, and the room's 21 degrees, the stat set to 21.5, or the system's programmed to go to 21.5. We have a return temperature of 30 degrees and a flow temperature of 34, about 34 across the manifold. All the valve heads have been removed so that the room stats don't interfere with anything going on here. All the flow rates have been set according to the original manufacturer's spec on the flow setters here, and the simple upgrade is to remove the manufacturer's mixing valve and to replace it with a suitable electronic mixing valve with a suitable KVS value to make sure it's got the correct authority for the system. We reused the pump from the original manifold here, and because all the loops are open, we don't need anything special. We can use a constant speed pump here because we aren't compensating for changing flow rates due to opening and closing valves. So most of those valves are faulty, and I think the control box is faulty too, so we just haven't bothered to take it out. So hydraulic separation here from close couple T's. We haven't really got a proper distribution manifold, but we're very close to our draw-off point here for our system, so we're going to get very, very minimal interaction between those pumps. There may be a tiny little bit of interaction on this system, but very, very little. I would imagine the pressure loss on this section is going to be pretty minimal. So yeah, very, very simple. So it's not particularly expensive, the electronic mixing valve. Reused the old pump, and on the Vaillant you're just buying the weather comp control in the front, which of course gives us weather comp on the radiator circuit, the unmixed radiator circuit as well. And I think this unit here was under 100 quid, so it's a not significant investment to make the house much more comfortable. Right now the room's at the right temperature. It's very cold outside, and the floor, well, you can hardly feel any heat in the floor, but it's not cold, and that's because these really, really low flow temperatures are required to keep it that constant temperature. And see on our boiler, the problem with this boiler is poor modulation, so it cycles a lot, and also the other thing is it fires up during the night. We get a real big splurge of heating because it just can't fire up low enough to do that, so we get this massive splurge of hot water come on in the middle of the night and drive everybody crazy. So we've set the nighttime temperature down to 5 to try and stop this thing firing up, but really we just need a boiler with good modulation that can actually provide the low output we need for that circuit. Same thing with the underfloor, of course, here, that we're going to want really low outputs for this underfloor system, but we're not going to get those from this boiler. So boiler's over 10 years old now, so next problem we get with this, it'll come out, we'll put a Viessmann in here and everything will be perfect. So we can reuse this motor of ours, we don't have to change that. We can just buy a mixer driver unit for it from Viessmann, pop the Viessmann boiler on there, and away it'll go. It'll all be ready